Hey everyone, welcome to our deep dive on mindfulness for mental health. We're going to be taking a look at this article from WebMD today called What to Know About Mindfulness in Mental Health.
Sounds great.
So I'm really interested to see what we can pull out of this. Everyone's talking about mindfulness these days, but what does it actually do?
Yeah, it's gotten really popular, but for good reason.
Yeah.
There's a lot of research showing that mindfulness can be really helpful
Yeah.
for managing things like stress, anxiety, depression, even addiction.
Wow. It's like the cure for everything.
Well, not a cure, but it can be a really valuable tool.
Right. Okay. A tool.
Yeah. So the article defines mindfulness as being present and aware of your thoughts and feelings without judgment.
Okay. So kind of like if you were watching a movie of your life, you're just observing each scene unfold.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah. So instead of getting caught up in the story, you're just noticing it.
Exactly.
But how does that actually help? Like, how does simply being more aware actually help me manage something like anxiety?
Well, let's say you're feeling anxious about a presentation at work.
I can relate to that.
Instead of letting those anxious thoughts run wild, you can acknowledge them without letting them define you.
So it's not about pretending I'm not anxious, but just noticing those feelings.
Yes, that's the key. This detachment lets you choose how to respond instead of just reacting impulsively.
Okay, so I see how that could be helpful. So what are some ways that we can actually put this mindfulness stuff into practice?
A simple one is mindful breathing.
Oh, I've heard about that. Is it really that easy, just paying attention to my breath?
It might seem too simple, but it's really effective. When we focus on our breath, we bring ourselves back to the present moment,
Right.
which is incredibly grounding. And there's actually a specific breathing technique called the 4-7-8 breath that can be really helpful for calming anxiety.
What's that?
So you inhale deeply for a count of 4, hold your breath for a count of 7, and then exhale slowly for a count of 8.
Okay, I might have to try that one later.
Yeah, it's a good one.
What else can we do? What about walking? I do a lot of walking.
Perfect. You can try mindful walking,
Okay.
where you pay attention to the physical sensations of each step, like the feeling of your feet on the ground, the movement of your legs.
So instead of just zoning out or thinking about my to-do list, I'm actually present in the moment.
Exactly. It can turn a regular walk into a moving meditation.
I love that. Okay, I'm already adding mindful walking to my routine. What about eating?
Mindful eating is another great one.
I'm all ears.
It's all about slowing down and
Yeah.
really savoring your meals.
Okay.
Instead of just, mindlessly shoveling food in your mouth.
Uh-huh. I can definitely relate to that, especially when I'm working.
Yeah, we've all been there.
Mm.
But with mindful eating, you engage all your senses. You notice the colors, the textures of your food, the aroma, the taste.
That sounds amazing.
And it can actually help prevent overeating.
Really?
Yeah, because you're tuning into your body's cues, and you're more likely to eat what your body truly needs.
Okay, so mindful eating is a win-win. You enjoy your food more, and you're more in tune with your body.
Exactly.
This is great. What else do we have?
Well, mindful listening is another important practice, especially in our hyper-connected world.
Okay, what's that about?
It involves truly focusing on the person speaking, tuning into their words, their tone of voice, their body language.
So it's like really being present in the conversation, not just waiting for my turn to talk or checking my phone.
Exactly. Think about how good it feels when someone really listens to you. You feel seen and heard and understood.
Yeah, that's so true. It makes you feel valued.
And practicing mindful listening can actually deepen your connections with people.
It's like a superpower.
You can say that.
This is awesome. We've got mindful breathing, walking, eating, listening. Are there even more ways to practice mindfulness?
The article also mentions a few other important points, like practicing regularly.
Okay, so it's not just a one-time thing?
Right, consistency is key.
Yeah.
Just like with any skill, the more you practice, the better you become.
Got it. But how do I make it a habit? My schedule's already pretty full.
Well, you can try weaving mindfulness into your existing routines.
Oh, like how?
You could try mindful dishwashing.
Mindful dishwashing.
Yeah, just focus on the feel of the water, the soap.
Mm-hmm.
Or you could bring mindfulness to your shower. Pay attention to the sensations of the water on your skin.
I love that. It's
Yeah.
like sneaking in little moments of mindfulness throughout the day.
Exactly.
What else?
The article also talks about monitoring your thoughts and naming your feelings.
Okay, so what does that mean?
It's about acknowledging the thoughts and feelings that come up without judging them. So you might say to yourself, I'm noticing a thought about that upcoming deadline, or I'm feeling a sense of frustration.
So it's like becoming a curious observer of my own mind.
Exactly. And by naming your feelings, you create a little bit of space between yourself and those emotions, which can be really helpful in managing them.
That's really interesting. It's like you're taking control of your emotional roller coaster instead of letting it control
You
you.
got it.
I'm already feeling calmer just thinking about these techniques.
That's great to hear. And the more you practice, the more skilled you become at navigating life's challenges.
Okay, this is all great, but I have to admit I'm a little intimidated. Where do I even start? There are so many different ways to practice mindfulness.
You don't have to do everything at once. Just start with one thing that resonates with you. Maybe it's mindful breathing, or maybe it's something else entirely.
Okay.
And remember, it's a journey. There's no right or wrong way to do it.
That's good to know. I'm excited to start experimenting with these techniques and see how they can help me feel more balanced and present in my life.
Me too. And the cool thing is, the more you practice, the more natural it becomes. You might even find yourself naturally bringing mindfulness to everyday activities without even thinking about it.
Wow, that sounds amazing. I'm definitely feeling more optimistic about this whole mindfulness thing now. It's not about becoming some kind of Zen master, but just learning to pay attention and be present in the moment.
That's the heart of it. It's about being kind to ourselves, noticing our thoughts and feelings without judgment, and creating space to respond to life challenges with more awareness and intention.
Mm.
And you know what?
Right.
I'm actually feeling a little more mindful already just talking about it.
Me too. This has been such an eye-opening conversation. I'm so glad we took the time to dive into this WebMD article together.
Yeah, me too. This is great.
I think our listeners are going to get a lot out of it.
Definitely.
Well, on that note, I think it's time for a little break. We'll be back soon to explore even more about this fascinating connection between mindfulness and mental health. Stay tuned.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
It really is amazing how, just paying attention to your breath or really taking the time to enjoy a meal can actually make such a difference.
Yeah, and it's like we've already been doing those things, it's just about tweaking them a bit, bringing in that awareness.
It's true. We already have so many of the tools, we just need to learn how to use them. And the more we practice, the better we get at it. It's just like learning any new skill.
Okay, that makes sense. But for someone who's just starting out, it can feel kind of overwhelming. Like, where do you even begin?
Start small. Just pick one of the practices we talked about. Like maybe try mindful breathing for a few minutes each day, or mindful walking.
Okay, so I don't have to overhaul my entire life right away.
No,
Yeah.
you don't have to do everything perfectly right from the start. It's just about being present, noticing those thoughts and feelings without that judgment.
Right. It's not about adding another item to my to-do list.
Exactly. And as you get more comfortable, you can gradually, increase the time you spend practicing or try some of those other techniques we talked about. It's all about finding what works for you.
It all comes back to building those habits, like the article said.
Yes, making mindfulness a part of your everyday life.
Okay, so little by little, we can make those changes.
Exactly. And the more you practice, the more you'll find those little pockets of time throughout the day where you can just pause, breathe, reconnect.
Like maybe taking a few mindful breaths before I start work, or really being present while I'm enjoying my morning coffee.
Exactly. Even those small moments can make a big difference.
And I bet that as you cultivate those habits, you start to see positive changes in other areas of your life too.
Absolutely.
Like maybe you're less reactive to stress, or, you're more patient, or you just appreciate the little things more.
Yeah, got it. Those are all really common benefits.
One thing I'm really curious about is the connection between mindfulness and memory. The article mentions that, guided meditation can actually improve memory. How does that even work?
When your mind is racing and you're constantly distracted, it can be really hard to actually take in and remember information.
Okay, yeah.
But mindfulness can help calm that mental chatter and really sharpen your focus, which then actually boosts your ability to encode and recall memories.
So basically, by learning to be more present, we're also improving how our brains work.
That's a great way to put it.
Wow. It really shows how mindfulness isn't just about stress reduction. It's about improving, everything.
Yeah, it's really powerful. Your overall well-being, your cognitive function, even your relationships.
And the best part is that it's accessible to everyone. You don't need special equipment or fancy training, just that intention to be present.
Exactly. It's all about tapping into that peace, clarity, and joy that's already within each of us.
Earlier we talked about mindfulness being like an early warning system. Can you explain that a little more?
Sure. So when you practice mindfulness regularly, you become more aware of, everything that's happening inside. Thoughts, feelings, bodily sensations.
So you start to notice those little signs of stress or anxiety or whatever else you might be feeling.
Yes. And that awareness can help you, recognize those feelings before they turn into a full-blown crisis.
Like it's like having an emotional barometer?
Exactly. And by recognizing those early warning signs, you can address them,
Okay, instead of like just reacting on autopilot.
right? You can engage in self-care. Take a break, go for a walk or practice a relaxation technique.
So mindfulness isn't about eliminating stress, it's about learning to manage it in a healthy way.
That's a great way to think about it.
Hmm.
It's about building a healthy relationship with yourself and your experiences.
This has been such a helpful conversation. I feel like I'm already starting to see how mindfulness could really change my life.
I'm so glad. And remember, it's a journey.
Yeah.
Be patient with yourself. Celebrate those small victories along the way.
Okay, I will. Now, before we wrap up this part of our conversation, I have a question for our listeners. What's one small area of your life where you could start practicing mindfulness today? And how might that change your experience?
That's a great question. It could be something as simple as bringing mindfulness to your morning routine or your commute, or even just spending time with your loved ones. Just those small moments of presence can make a big difference.
It's all about finding those opportunities to pause, breathe, and reconnect with the present moment, no matter where you are or what you're doing.
That's it. Mindfulness is a gift we can give ourselves at any time.
Hmm.
And the more we practice, the more we open ourselves up to all the good stuff that's already inside us.
I love that. And on that note, I think we're ready for the final part of our deep dive. So stick around. We'll be back in just a bit to explore even more about this fascinating connection between mindfulness and mental health. We are back and ready to wrap up our deep dive into mindfulness. As we've been talking about this, I keep thinking about how hopeful it all is. It's not about becoming some kind of perfect, Zen master or anything. It's more about just having those tools to deal with the real world with all its ups and downs.
It is hopeful. It really is. And the best part is that those tools are always available, no matter what you're going through.
Yeah. Like even if I'm having a really bad day, I can still take a few mindful breaths and kind of create some space, So I'm not just like reacting to everything.
That's it. It's about moving from just going through the motions to actually taking control of your experience.
Yeah, be more intentional. So as we wrap up, is there any final thought you want to leave our listeners with?
I'd say think about what really resonated with you today.
Yeah.
Was it a specific technique or maybe a new way of thinking about your thoughts and feelings? Whatever it was, hold on to that. Make it the starting point for your own mindfulness journey.
That's great advice. It's not about memorizing everything, but about finding what feels meaningful for you.
Exactly. Mindfulness is a practice.
Yeah.
It's not about perfection. Be kind to yourself, be patient, and just, enjoy the process of discovering what works for you.
That's beautifully said. A big thank you to our expert for all these amazing insights on mindfulness and how we can use it to improve our mental health.
My pleasure.
And to all of you listening, thank you for joining us for this deep dive. We hope you learned some valuable things that you can apply in your own lives. Even small steps towards mindfulness can make a real difference. So keep exploring, keep practicing, and most importantly, keep believing that you can create a more mindful and fulfilling life. Until next time.